Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. I think Mataji is yet to join. So till that time, what we can do is tomorrow being Ashad, is Mataji here? Hare Krishna. Okay. So tomorrow being Ashad Ekadashi, it's a very auspicious day. And since the Ekadashi Parva starts one day prior, we can sing a few Vaishnava bhajans till she joins. I think she's about to join in some time. So till then, we will try to sing some Vaishnava bhajans. I have dropped the link on the in the chat box. If you can open that link, it's a Vaishnava bhajan called as Shri Hari Vasare Hari. It's a Vaishnav bhajan, especially sung during Ekadashis. So it's a very long bhajan. It has got 29 shlokas. Obviously, we won't be able to sing all the shlokas. We'll try to sing as many as possible till Mataji joins. So I request you all to open that link and try singing along with me. So the song name is Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana Vidhana. It is written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. So and it goes like this. Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana Vidhana Nritya Arambhila Prabhu Jagatera Prana Shri Hari Vasare Hari Kirtana Vidhana Nritya Arambhila Prabhu Jagatera Prana Punyavanta Shiva Sangha Neshubharambha Uthila Kirtana Dhvani Gopala Govinda Mridanga Manjira Baje Shankha Karatala Sankirtana Sange Sabha Ailami Shala Brahmanda Bhedila Dhvani Puriya Kasha Chaudikera Amangala Jaya Sabanasha Ushakala Haite Nritya Pari Vishwambhara Yutha Haila Jata Gayana Sundara Srivasa Pandita Laya Ekha Sampradaya Mukunda Layara जनकतगाय लैया गोविंद घोष आरकत जन गौरचंद्र नृत्ये सबे करे न कीर्तन धरिया भूले न नित्यानंद महाबली अलक्षिते अद्वैत लयन पदधूली गदाधर आदि जत सजल नयने आनंदे विभाल हैल प्रभुर कीर्तने जखन उद्दंड नाचे प्रभु विश्वंभर पृथ्वी कंपित सबे पाय दाड़ कखन वामधुर नाचए विश्वंभर जेन देखी नंदेर नंदन नटवर अपरूप कृष्णावेश अपरूप नृत्य आनंदे नयन भरी देखे सब भृत्य निजानंदे नाचे महा प्रभु विश्वंभर चरणेर ताल अति मनोहर।
हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So nice,
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for wonderful bhajan. Thank you so much.
So we are in which verse?
Thank you, Guruji.
13th, Mataji.
13th verse. Chapter 2, right? 13th verse. So in the previous verse we saw Tashradhana Munyo Jnana Vairagya Pashyantyaatman Chatmanam Bhakta Shukta Gurhitaya. When the Vedas are well received, that means he's performing devotional service properly. That means he has received the Vedas properly. And he's inquisitive. And automatically he's equipped with Jnana and Vairagya. It is not that by Jnana and Vairagya he has got Bhakti. When he has got Bhakti, automatically Jnana and Vairagya enters. 13th verse. Atha pumbir dvijashreshtha varnashrama vibhagajah swanishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Atha pumbir dvijashreshtha. Why a person is performing varnashrama dharma? We know Krishna
Mataji, Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam. How this verse, the number will start, Mataji, please.
13th, na?
2.1. How it will start?
2.13. You are in the first canto still. 1.2.
1.2. Okay, Mataji.
13.
Thank you.
I think I joined today.
No, Mataji, last class I missed because I was in temple. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. अतः पुंभिर्द्विजश्रेष्ठा वर्णाश्रम विभागशः स्वनिष्ठितस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर्हरितोषणम्. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Varnashrama chaturvarnim maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah swanishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhiritoshana. Again here, Haritoshana has come. That means swanishtitasya dharmasya. Whatever Krishna has given, chaturvarnim maya srishtam gunakarma vibhagashah. Tasya kartaram apima vidya kartaram avyayam. Krishna says, I am not into all these things, but I have given. So why this Varnashrama is there? Atha pumbir dvijashreshtaha. A human is put into this Varnashrama institution. 4 castes, 4 orders. Vibhagasha. In this way, he has been divided. Now, who is saying, speaking all these things? Sutta Goswami is speaking to Shaunakadi Rishi. That is why the O Dvijashreshtaha, in this way it's speaking. So, Swanishtitasya Dharmasya, they are performing their own duties, occupation. What is the purpose? Samsiddhihi. Sampurna Rupena Siddhihi. The highest perfection. But what is that highest perfection? Haritoshanam. To satisfy the Lord. A person is in a particular ashrama. It can be grahastha, it can be brahmachari, vanaprastha, sannyasi. All are actually in ashram. That means even if he is in a grahastha ashram, it is ashram. That means he has taken ashraya of Krishna. If you see in the karma sannyas, sannyasis are considered to be the topmost. But if you see in the Vaishnava sannyas, all are sannyasis right from the beginning if they have taken ashraya. If they have taken ashraya. If they are completely dedicated to Krishna, even a grahastha is as good as a brahmachari, is as good as a sannyasi. Sattanyasa. Sattanyasa. So the purpose of putting oneself in the Varna ashrama is Hari Toshanam. Okay? Dayasagar Prabhu, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Atapumbir Dvija Shreshta Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Svanushthitasya Dharmasya Svanushthitasya Dharmasya Sansidir Haritoshanam.
Yes, read.
Translation. Who best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Purport. Human society all over the world is divided into 4 castes and 4 orders of life. The 4 castes are the intelligent caste, the martial caste, the productive caste, and the laborer caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. Then again, there are 4 orders of life, namely the student life, the householder's life, the retired, and the devotional life. In the best interest of human society, there must be such divisions of life. Otherwise, no social institution can grow in a healthy state. And in each and every one of the above-mentioned divisions of life, the aim must be to please the supreme authority of the personality of Godhead. This institutional function of human society is known as the system of Varnashrama Dharma, which is quite natural for the civilized life. The Varnashrama institution is constructed to enable one to realize the absolute truth. It is not for artificial domination of one division over another. When the aim of life, realization of the absolute truth, is missed by too much attachment or indriya priti or sense gratification, as already discussed before, the institution of Varnashrama is utilized by selfish men to cause an artificial predominance over the weaker section. In the Kali Yuga, or in the age of peril, this artificial predominance is already current, but the center section of the people know it well that divisions of castes and orders of life are meant for smooth social intercourse and high thinking self-realization, and not for any other purpose. Herein, the statement of Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life, or the highest perfection of the institution of the Varnashrama Dharma, is to cooperate jointly for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.13.
Okay, it is just for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. One is performing the Varnashrama system. Now, what is the only work? Worship is the only work. How it should be done? With one pointed attention. And what are the different 4 aspects in the worship that has been given the 14th verse? Tasmat ekena manasa Bhagavan satvatam pati Shottavya kirtitavyascha Dheya pujyascha nityada Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan satvatam pati Shrottavya kirtitavyascha Dheya pujyascha nityada. Adi Satviki Mataji, mute your phone. Tasmad ekena manasa, with one pointed attention. Bhagavan satvatam pati. He is pati. He is a protector of the devotees. Bhagavan satvatam pati. So what a person should do with one pointed attention, hear about him, Shottavya, Kirtitavya, speak about him, Pujyashta, worship him, Dheya, meditate upon him, Pujyashta, worship him. Nityata, this is the only work. To perform this work, you go to other work. If you say, my business is my priority, then wrong. Business is done to do these all 4 activities properly. If one is sacrificing these 4 activities on the cost of his business or any other work, then he is not a human. Simple. Because if you see, Atha Pumbir Dujashreshta Varnashma Vibhagashah Swanishtita sa dharma sa samsiddhi haritoshan, then only is a human if he is satisfying Krishna. If he is not satisfying Krishna, then simply he is not a human. He is only working like a, what you can say, with whom you compare. If you do too much of hard work, like an ass. In the 8th verse, it very clearly said, Dharma sunishtitaha pumsam vishwakshena kathasuya na utpaditi ediratim shamayevahi kevalam. If that eagerness to hear about Krishna is not there, shamayevahi kevalam, only hard work. So these 4 activities, Krishna appears to, if suppose there is a decline, yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata pittanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujamyam. Why Krishna is appearing? To restore these 4 activities. And when adharma happens, when these 4 activities are not there, hearing, chanting, meditating, and worshipping. Okay? Narayana, read.
Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Dhyaya Pujaschya Nityada. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Purport. If realization of the absolute truth is the ultimate aim of life, it must be carried out by all means. In any one of the above mentioned castes and orders of life, the four processes, namely glorifying, hearing, remembering, and worshipping, are general occupations. Without these principles of life, no one can exist. Activities of the living being involve engagements in these four different principles of life. Especially in the modern society, all activities are more or less dependent on hearing and glorifying. Any man from any social status becomes a well-known man in human society within a very short time if he is simply glorified truly or falsely in the daily newspapers. Sometimes political leaders of a particular party are also advertised by newspaper propaganda, and by such a method of glorification, an insignificant man becomes an important man within no time. But such propaganda by false glorification of an unqualified person cannot bring about any good, either for the particular man or for the society. There may be temporary reactions to such propaganda, but there are no permanent effects. Therefore, such activities are a waste of time. The actual object of glorification is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created everything manifested before us. We have broadly discussed this fact from the beginning of the Janmadesya shloka of this Bhagavatam. The tendency to glorify others or hear others must be turned to the real object of glorification, the Supreme Being, and that will bring happiness.
So what type of ekena manasaha? Devoid of jnana and karma. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavutam anukulyena krishna anushilam bhakti uttama. In here you will be studying it. You have studied this in Bhakti in your Bhakti Shastri, right? Anyabhilashita shunyam. Forgot or remembering? Forgot? Anya, what is Uttama Bhakti? Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma anavritam anukulyena krishna anushilam bhakti uttama. So this bhakti, this is ekena bhakti, where there is no other desire except to serve Krishna. There is no desire for any jnana, there is no desire for any impersonal jnana or any fruitive activity. Okay, now next. Yad anudhyasina yukta karma granthi nibandhanam chindanti ko vidhastasya ko na kuryat katharatim. Yad anudhyasina yukta karma granthi nibandhanam chindanti ko vidhastasya ko na kuryat katharatim. Now, yad anudhyasina yukta. Anudhya means remembering. When you remember Krishna, that remember itself becomes a sword. Asinaha. Devotional service itself is a sword. The remembrance itself is a sword. What it does? It cuts granthi, which is interknit with each other. These karmic reactions are like granthis. You just have to cut. You can cut by easily remembering Krishna. That itself becomes a sword. So, to remember him, you have to listen to him. Listen about him. Those messages you have to hear with great attention. So, who will not attentively hear to his message? Because if you hear, naturally you will remember, and that remembrance becomes your weapon to cut the granthis which are internet with each other. So that has been given. So first qualification of bhakti is a rati. The first qualification of bhakti is faith. Faith in the topic. Who will not hear with great attention? That means here faith has been said. The first thing in the devotion is faith. Adau Shraddha. If faith is there, we can progress ahead. So that has been given. Faith. So a person with natural faith, what will do? He will always hear about him. Constantly sing about him. Remember his topic. This is enough to make him attain permanent bhakti. Initially, it is like Adau Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangha. If the faith is not so strong, but the more we hear, the more we remember, the faith becomes strong. Okay. Krishna Gaur Prabhu, read.
यद अनुध्यासीन युक्ता कर्म ग्रंथि
यद अनुध्यासिना युक्ता
यद अनुध्यासिना युक्ता कर्म ग्रंथि निबंधनम छिद्दन्ति कोविदस्तस्य को न कुर्यात् तथारतिम्.
Okay, read.
Translation and purport by Shri Prabhupada. Translation. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? Purport. The contact of the spiritual spark with material elements creates a knot which must be cut if one wants to be liberated from the actions and reactions of fruity work. Liberation means freedom from the cycle of reactionary work. This liberation automatically follows for one who constantly remembers the transcendental pastime of the personality of Godhead. This is because all the activities of the Supreme Lord, his Leela, are transcendental to the modes of the material nature, material energy. They are all attractive spiritual activities, and therefore constant association with spiritual activities of the Supreme Lord gradually spiritualizes the conditioned soul and ultimately severs the knot of material bondage. Liberation from material bondage is therefore a byproduct of devotional service. Attainment of the spiritual knowledge is not sufficient to ensure liberation. Such knowledge must be overcoated with devotional service so that ultimately the devotional service alone predominates. Then liberation is made possible. Even the reactionary work of the fruity workers can lead one to liberation when it is overcoated with devotional service. Karma overcoated with devotional service is called karma yoga. Similarly, empirical knowledge overcoated with devotional service is called Jnana Yoga. But pure Bhakti Yoga is independent of such karma and jnana because it alone cannot only endow one with liberation from conditioned life, but also award one the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, any sensible man who is above the average man with a poor fund of knowledge must constantly remember the personality of Godhead by hearing about him, by glorifying him, by remembering him, and by worshipping him always without cessation. That is the perfect way of devotional service. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, who were authorized by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach the Bhakti cult, rigidly followed this rule and made immense literature of transcendental science for our benefit. They have chalked out ways for all classes of men in terms of the different castes and orders of life in pursuance of the teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam. And similarly, Similar other authoritative scriptures. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Now Shraddha is there. After Shraddha, what comes? What comes? Adav Shraddha?
Shravan Kriya, Bhajan Kriya,
No. Adav Shraddha?
Sadhu Sangha.
Sadhu Sangha.
Sadhu Sangha. Tatha Sadhu Sangha. That is being given in the 16th verse. It's actually 9 process of devotion service. 9, no? 9 stages of devotion service. Adav Shraddha, na tatha Sadhu Sangha. Shushusho Shadadhanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanan. Shushusho Shadadhanasya Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi Syat Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanan. Shushusho, whoever hears with great faith, Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi, there's an affinity developed. And because of that, one is eager to do Mahat Sevaya. That is Sadhu Sangha, serving the pure devotees. Oh, twice born. Now, who is telling this? Sutta Goswami is saying to Shaunakadi Rishi. Punya Tirtha Nishevana. Punya Tirtha. In this way, he is cleansed with all the vices just by service. Just by serving the great Vaishnavas, one can easily cleanse the dust. And this all aroused because he had faith. Adav Shraddha. Okay. We'll read Adi Satviki Mataji read. See, there should not be any disturbance. Huh? Cleanly read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, read. If disturbance is there, then Krishna Priya will read. Yeah, read.
Okay. Am I audible?
You read. If you're not audible, I will tell.
Okay, Mataji. Tushushaha Shraddadhanasya Vasudevo Katharuchihi Tanmahat Sevaya Vipraha Punya Tirtha Nishebanat. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Purport. The conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called Deva, or godly living beings, and there are men called Asuras, or demons, who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter, a vivid description of the Asuras is given, in which it is said that the Asuras are put into lower and lower states of ignorance, life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These Asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of the Lord's liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme will. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord, and when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as sons of the Lord, as servants of the Lord, or as associates of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is a blasphemy declared by the Asuras, and the demoniac followers of such Asuras also accept pretenders as God or his incarnation. In the revealed scriptures, there is definite information of the incarnation of God. No one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scriptures. The servants of God are to be respected as God. by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tirthas, and they preach according to particular time and place. The servants of God urge people to become devotees of the Lord. They never tolerate being called God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself according to the indication of the revealed scriptures, but he played the part of a devotee. People who knew him to be God addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the name of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being God, being called God, although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaves so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness. Intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants do everything for the service of the Lord and very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita 18.69 that no one is dearer to one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God. Thank you very much for the service, Mataji.
Yeah.
Very
Krishna
good.
very clearly says, Rajatasman Manusheshu Kaschinme Priyakutamaha Bhavita Rajat me Tasman Anya Priyataro. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there be anyone more dear. So one who has risked everything for Krishna, that person is very dear to Krishna. So here, Vasudeva Katha Ruchihi, because of the taste and affinity for hearing, this person now what happens? He's doing now Mahat Sevya. Now by doing Mahat Sevya, what happens? His vices goes away. Shruvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Surhat Satam. Shruvatam Swakatha Krishna, he's hearing. Now Bhajana Kriya started. Sadhu Sangana Bhajana Kriya. Shruvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. So he is hearing about Lord. Hridayantastoya Bhadrani, all Abhatras are going. Abhadrani. What is it, Abhadra? Desire to enjoy the matter. So this is there in the heart, Hridayantastoya Bhadrani. But now it is cleansed. Vidunoti Surhat Satam. Surhat Satam, because he is associating with Sruhat. Surat means benefactor. Satam is a devotee. So he is the benefactor of the truthful. He is associating with Mahat people, Mahat Sevaya. He is doing Mahat Sevaya, he is associating with the devotees, Sadhu. That is why whatever Bhatras are there, that is cleansed off. Okay? Krishna Priya Mataji read.
Hare Krishna Dandavata Mataji. Punvantam Sadha Krishna Punyasravan Kirtana
Your voice is
Hridayantasto
dragging.
Abhadrani Vidinoti.
Keep your this properly. Yeah. Read.
Punvantam Svakadha
No, it's
Krishna.
not coming proper. Wait. Jumur read.
No, Mataji.
Jumur read. Connectivity is not proper. Jumur is busy. Then Usha Mataji read.
Hare Krishna. Srinvatan Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantastoya Bhadrani Vidu Noti Suratsatam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Purport. Message of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna are non-different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his Shikshashtaka, declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound, but unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord's name and activities. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting the holy sound. It is it is done through the medium of service to the pure devotee of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees that a devotee is completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only a very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleared of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires to lord over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord Himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment because every living being is associated with such things from remote time, practically immemorial. And if it takes time to recover from this foreign nature, but if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. By the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to, to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yes. So by the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself in the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind also. So that is how bhajana kriya anartha nivrutti. So here what is there? Bhajana kriya is also there, anartha nivrutti is also there. In this anartha nivrutti now, when anarthas are removed, then only nishtha comes. Nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. That will do the next class, next week, Tuesday. Tomorrow is Ashadha Ekadashi. It is flower decoration seva for Lord, flower dress. So I request devotees who are staying in Thane nearby, come. So here, till where we have done? Adav Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti is carried forward in this. When Anartha Nivritti happens, then only next stage is what? Nishtha, firm faith now. Okay, these are all the stages of devotional service. So here we'll stop. Any doubts you can ask. Nainu has come. Any doubts? No doubt. Nainu will sing song. Unmute. Tell one shloka. One shloka.
अन्याभिलाषिताशयं ज्ञानधर्मादिनावृतम् अनुकूलेन कृष्णानुशीलनं भक्तिरुत्तमा.
You are real Bhakti Shastri student. Everybody forgot.
कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः.
Vaishnavindiki chai. So you should know what is Uttama Bhakti, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadyanavritam, Anukulyena Krishna Ushilam Bhaktir Uttama.
Happy Ekadashi.
Hare Krishna.
पार्टी को कॉल करो.